Started spring ball. What have you seen out of the receiving group so far?
Well, again, at first it's really exciting. I mean, spring practice, a new beginning, a new start. I think the guys are working really hard, and we're just trying to develop the group, and everything's ground up, and we're trying to do a really good job of evaluating each person individually and then kind of the collective room to kind of see where we are. And every day brings new things, some challenges, some highlights. So, again, for me, it's a lot of fun. I'm excited and looking forward to watching the tape from today and moving on.
I guess, what have you seen from some of the younger guys? A guy like Rashad Rochelle, obviously, who's a lot of versatility, but kind of what stood out about him so far?
Well, again, everybody really with an install going in, it's really a developmental time for all the players. Guys who had production last year, obviously you see that, and Rochelle's a good guy with the ball in his hands. You can see he's got some quickness and toughness, and he has some versatility in terms of what he did last year. So it's always exciting to work with somebody who's got kind of a multiple skill set. He's got some position flexibility, and he's a really, really hard worker and a terrific kid. So I enjoy working with him.
Coach, if I recall correctly, last time you were here, you had Brandon Coleman, Mark Harrison, Tim Wright, heck of a wide receiver group. How would you compare that group to the current group you have now?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, realistically, those guys were really good players, but a lot of those guys were established players when I got here. I didn't bring any of them here. Coach Yano was here and had recruited those guys. They played really, really well, and they were great human beings, and I had a blast coaching them. And now I'm excited to coach this group. I don't live in a comparison world. I mean, it's 10 years ago, and I'm not really worried about 10 minutes ago, to be honest with you. So love those guys. I've seen a couple of them, since I've been back. So that's been exciting. But the new crew, I'm all in and just trying to work with them and develop each one of their individual skill sets, give each one of them a plan to give them the best chance to be successful to help our team win.
Coach, I know you've been a lot of years of experience all over the place. Just curious what brought you back to Rutgers and why you wanted to be here.
Well, I think I have a unique relationship with Kirk Shiraka, and he and I worked together, too long ago to probably say. And then, we had a conversation really a couple of years ago, and man, wouldn't it be a really cool situation to have an opportunity to work together again? And then, again, this opportunity came up, and I jumped at it. I was really excited. I have an incredible amount of respect for Coach Shiano. I've known him for a long time, kind of through other people. Coached against him a bunch, which is challenging. And, the opportunity to be here and work under him with Kirk, just an opportunity too good to pass up.
You guys, those are your 3 top receivers from last year. They all graduated. What's the challenge of that? How do you kind of go about just trying to fill that production?
Yeah, again, I look at it as an opportunity, a kind of a new beginning. I don't really see it necessarily as a challenge. I wasn't here. We're going to put ourselves in a position to develop the players that are here and get them in a position to play at a high level so we can win. That's the challenge. That's the goal. I think that ultimately will be the result. And that's what we're working towards. We don't live in the past. We don't really look at again, those guys are good players and did a good job. But, we're forward-thinking, forward-looking, and that's where my mind is.
It's been 11 years since you were here, first go-around.
He said I was old, and now you bring up 11 years.
But you're showing us your good side, so that's what matters.
No question.
How have you changed as a coach? You had a lot of NFL experience, a lot of different things. Just kind of when you look and evaluate this, how have you changed? What do you bring different this time around?
Well, I hope experience and kind of the opportunity to share those experiences. I think one of the things that players enjoy hearing is, hey, this is exactly how X, Y, or Z did something. This is what it will look like if you're able to do it this way. And so much of guys' success, so much of guys' ability to be a really good player has less to do with their physical talent than it does the things nobody sees. What they do in the weight room, what they do nutrition and sleep, what they do in terms of the meeting room, their ability to play as fast as they are, whatever that is. And those things I'm trying to convey to the younger players. Train yourself to be a really good player. You have enough ability to do the things we're going to ask you to do, but all those other pieces have to be in place for you to be the best player you can be. Whatever that is, nothing's equal. But I've coached a lot of really, really good players, and I wouldn't say anybody was, quote unquote, the same. So for me, it's fun. What's his skill set? What's it going to allow us to do? What's Kirk really want to do? How does he want to do it? Who's going to be capable of doing that the best? And then find a way to train the player to do that. And then who's somebody else who might have that skill set and train him? Maybe another guy is a little bit different, more of a slot player. What can we train him to do? And all those things, they're kind of unique challenges, and man, are they fun. For me, I love doing it. I love sitting in there and talking football, especially with people that I really respect and enjoy working with.
You had the NFL experience, the head coaching experience. How has that kind of shaped your recruiting philosophy now as you go through it?
Recruiting?
Recruiting, your philosophy.
Well, I think for me, I've always been about trying to evaluate and make sure that we took players that had the traits that we wanted. So in other words, whatever those traits were, maybe it's speed, maybe it was size, maybe it's initial body quickness, maybe it's elite hands. Like a guy like Mohamed Sanu, who I've known since he was in high school. I didn't coach him here, but I coached him in Atlanta. A guy who took himself from being really an outside receiver, kind of enforcer type player in the run game, and a good player in base down pass, came to Atlanta. He became an elite third down player, a converter on third down, and he kept the ability to play in the run game, and he just reshaped himself, and you wake up and it's 9 years later and he's had a dominant career in the NFL on top of being an unbelievable human being. He's created himself. So I just look at it and I say, okay, let me identify what these guys can do really, really well, and then try to create as many opportunities for them to do it as you can. And that's really, in the NFL, nobody's really going to tell you, I can't do it. They might be able to do everything, but what do they do really well? What makes them special? And how many times can you get them to do that skill in a game to be a productive player? Because at the end of the day, at receiver, it is a production position. Put people in a position to make the play, good things happen. And again, I'm excited about working with these guys and looking forward to it.
Time for a few more here. Greg was saying the other day about how both you and Kirk have been demanding of the players, but also have been building relationships with them. Can you kind of describe that process as like from your perspective of getting to know who do you have, your new personnel, building those relationships, but also being demanding at the same time?
Yeah, again, I think they go hand in hand. I think a player knows that you're going to give them everything you have. You're going to invest everything that you have, whether that's time, energy, knowledge, whatever it is. You're going to invest in that player to try and give him an opportunity to be the best player he can be. Again, whatever that is. You don't set any limits. There's no floors. There's no ceilings. Nothing. I think the player will immediately start to understand, okay, his primary goal is to make me the best I can be. And then it's a little bit easier maybe to listen to kind of what's said more so than how it's said. And again, I'm working on that because I'm old and I haven't been here a long time. But, those are the things that are important. Put a guy in a position to be successful, then he has success. Now you're talking about genuine confidence. Now a guy says to himself, I know I can do this. I'm going to do it again. And then when you do that, again, that's where you kind of get a little bit of momentum and you start being able to do some things really, really well, which that's what good offenses do.
Coach, before you were talking about versatility at the wide receiver position, one guy who's pretty versatile is Rashad Rochelle. He played running back last year. He's at wide receiver again. Just talk a little bit about his game.
Well, I mean, again, I go back to production. So he played running back. He played receiver. He played, I think I saw him in some Wildcat direct snap stuff. I think he returned punts. So again, in my mind, I look at that, and if I'm evaluating it, I'm saying, okay, here's a guy that they were trying to figure out a way to get him to touch the ball. So he's good with the ball in his hands. So how can we create some of those opportunities for him and then train him to be a functional player at receiver? Because right now he's a receiver when he's not in the backfield or any of those things. And he's done a really nice job. Again, he's athletic. He's got body quickness. He's tough. All the things you would expect from somebody who carries the ball, and who's been and he's made plays. So he's going to have genuine confidence in terms of what he's doing and how he's trying to do it. So I've enjoyed it. It's just a matter now of trying to build on to what he's done and then see, okay, what's he really going to be good at? Take this as phase one, and now you're moving into the summer, and then we got a lot of football to work on before we kick it off.
Final question.
Nassim Brantley was a player that was really productive at the FCS level. How do you get his skill set to translate to big time Power 5 FBS?
Yeah, I mean, I think players are players. I think when he gets rolling, I think, the traits that he has, which certainly is size and really, really good hands, and he's got good movement. I think as he gets rolling, I think he'll be a plug-and-play player. We'll be able to put him in and put him at one of the outside receiver positions, get him going, and then, again, like everybody else, kind of find out, okay, where's his strength? What does he do best? And then try to formulate a way to make sure that he's doing those things more often than the things that maybe aren't what he does at an elite level. But again, very excited about coaching him and working with him, just like I am all these guys.